Welcome guys to our second episode here of our brand new series on YouTube where we're on our path to finding the most perfect car out there. And next to me here is Michael Lundström's BMW F10 from 2015. Many will argue that this car is one of the most boring M5s ever made, and the other half of the people will argue that this is one of the most underrated M5s ever made. This is not a sports car and it's not a limousine. Could it be the most perfect family car? We're going to find out today. BMW M5s have been made ever since the 80s. The F10 production line was produced from 2012 to 2016. Right behind me here is a 2015, which is a facelift because they came out in 2014. This is pretty much your average BMW 5 Series, but on steroids. But if you have this particular M5, it's got a little bit of a higher doses of injection because this one has got some M-Performance part exterior-wise sitting on 20-inch wheels, KW suspension, and it's got a little bit of a modification going on under the hood. Under the bonnet of this extraordinary BMW M5, the engineers at BMW came up with this. A giant piece of plastic that produces 560 horsepower and 680 Newton meters of torque. They called this creation the S63B44, which can also be found in the later model M5 F90 and also in the BMW X5M. To give this V8 a little bit of an extra push, they decided to add twin turbos that sit in between the cylinder heads. And this car in particular has got a tune and is making 715 horsepower, 890 Newton meters, and is also equipped with a super sprint exhaust system. My concern and my biggest question is this: is this car really too heavy to be fast? Before we continue, don't miss our new personal discount code, TIDSTROM30 for 30% off. And in my hand right here, I have one of my favorites, Cherry. We're gonna gift this to Michael as a thank you for participating in today's video. Let's carry on. Okay, getting into this luxurious M5. It's not so loud. It's pretty quiet, honestly. Let's check. There is no parking brake. And we're gonna put this thing in drive first. Okay, we're gonna start off by having this car in comfort mode, just to see what it feels like. I can see here on the display, steering is in comfort, suspension, and also it says it's efficient. Not really sure how you make an M5 efficient, but it's loud, but it's not too loud. We're only revving like 2,000 RPMs right now. We're getting out on these country roads. It feels very smooth, honestly. It feels almost like, I would say, it feels like a 7 Series kind of in the way. Suspension and the seats too. I mean, the seats are enormous. They're gigantic. And you got the nice neck headrest, and they're also very wide. We're still cruising in automatic, no sport modes, just all comfort. Feels very smooth, honestly. Seats are enormous. They feel like small, feels like a little couch, honestly. Shifts very nice. It takes turns well. I'm not feeling any vibrations or anything from the road. I mean, I'm assuming that this chassis is a little bit stiffer because of the KW suspension, or the KW chassis. That's a speed camera right there. I don't want to get a nice selfie sent in or sent home to him with my face on it. Technically could be your ordinary 7 Series that you drive around in, because it feels very smooth. But you can still feel that the car is big. It's an enormous, it feels like a boat, honestly. Me personally, I love big cars, so that's not a con for me. It's not negative at all. But it doesn't really give you the sporty feel, because it's still too big. This more feels like an Autobahn kind of missile, I believe. I haven't tested it on the highway yet, but we will get to that. But just driving it as is, very comfortable. It pulls very well. You can hear the turbo spool almost immediately from like 1500 RPMs. It is really comfortable, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually very comfortable in here. And the headrest, this was a nice touch. I believe I had an older E61 535 diesel that had the same thing. I did appreciate it back then, and I'm realizing now that I've been missing it. I'm assuming that we will have more curvy roads up ahead. I'm gonna try to put this in sport mode 1 just to see what happens. And I'm gonna shift manually. It shifts fast too for being I was gonna say for being a 2015, but it's not an old car. Oof. Traction control is kicking in immediately. I'm not even on the... Yeah, you have to ease into it. Damn, we're only running 4,000 RPMs. Oh, dear Lord, have mercy. I mean, if you're not losing your license in this, I don't even know why you have one, honestly. The whole boat feeling just went away. It does not feel like a boat anymore. It feels like an M3 on steroids, because you honestly just forget how big it is. Wow. The exhaust sound. I have no idea where I'm going. We're out nowhere, but I'm gonna give it a try. Drive here. When you let off the gas, it sounds like an explosion in the rear. It sounds amazing. I don't know why, but it feels like a little go-kart. Maybe it is the KW suspension or the chassis that's on this particular car. But the brakes are great too. Everything is just, the response and everything in this car is ridiculous. I used to be a Beamer guy back in the day. I'm not saying I'm not still, but I've kind of distanced myself a little bit from the BMWs. But driving this right now makes me want to get one so bad. Wow. God damn. I think I'm in love. I think I am in love. Oh God. Alright, I would even trade my Benz for this, I think. The exhaust sound is ridiculous in this thing. It sounds like a whistle. It sounds like it just wants to... I can't even put words in. Even just like, not cruising, but being on it just by a little bit. It doesn't sound like a V8, honestly. It sounds like a steroid up V6 or something. but then with the whistles too. Oh God. But whenever you hit those higher RPMs, it almost sounds like a, I was gonna say V10, I can't even decide what it sounds like, but it sounds good. This is definitely one of the more underrated M5s, or BMW, or cars, just in general. Traction control is just killing it. It wants to go, but it doesn't go. I'm not gonna turn it off because this car is on winter tires right now, and it's on 265s. Big screen, which is obviously a plus. I like that it doesn't give it too much. It doesn't feel too modern, and it doesn't feel old either. So it's kind of a good mix. This is just preference though. I love older cars, but I don't want them to get too new because it feels, I don't want the car to feel like a spaceship. And this is, I believe this is just enough to where it doesn't feel too modern. This car it's bad. It's ridiculously bad because you feel like you're doing like 60, 70 tops. You're looking down at the speedometer and you're seeing what, 130, and you're like, you're not even remotely close. And it doesn't feel dramatic at all. So that bumps up the comfort level quite a lot. But does it take away the fun? Hell no, it does not. Because as soon as you downshift and just go for it, just by a little bit, turn the steering wheel just a little bit, it's all fun and games again. It feels like it's got this perfect on and off switch. It's where you can just decide if you want to go slow and if you want to take it easy or if you want to have fun. I am impressed by a lot, I can tell you. And overtaking people in this car isn't really hard either, I'm telling you. The response is great in the gearbox when you downshift and upshift, honestly. You just, whenever you click it, it shifts. It's quick. Not the fastest, but it's up there, it's quick. I'm so focused on the driving and how fun it is, and I keep forgetting about everything else inside here, which I should take into consideration. But they say BMWs are made for the driver, as they say Mercedes is supposed to drive you. And I can tell you that this car is for the driver, 1,000%. I feel that the handling is great. Whenever you're turning, taking turns, coming into turns, the weight distribution and everything feels good in the car. It's just I can't accelerate exiting turns because of the tires. I do believe they're 265s winter tires, and it's not optimal at all. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down here. Oh yeah, now it's just constantly fighting this. Closing the sunroof here. I just want to hear how loud it is or how noisy it is inside the car. I put it back to comfort mode. We're driving down the highway, and it feels like, I was gonna say any other BMW 5 Series, but just more comfort than a regular one. Then, if we put it back to M, if you have your foot on the throttle and you put it to sport, you can feel how it pulls on you immediately. We're gonna try to give it a little bit of a kick down here. It's quick. I'm still braking. It feels so undramatic. And I figured if it was an all-wheel drive, it was less horsepower, it wasn't as loud, it would not be dramatic, but this thing is going to be more rowdy because it has an exhaust, it has, it's a rear-wheel drive, the traction control is kicking in all the time, but it's really not. It just goes. Holy crap. Just easing into it here. Traction control is kicking in again and again. It's too quick. It is too quick, and it feels like you're getting pushed into the seat by a giant. This thing just goes. And I thought there would be less comfort in this car because it is an M5 and not a 7 Series or not a limousine. It's not supposed to be comfortable. Not that comfortable. But these seats are amazing. Well, I love it. This is one of my bucket list cars right now. To sum up this BMW M5, coming into the interior, I do believe it looks nice. They still kept the kind of original M5 feel and look. It is digital and analog at the same time, which I like. But it's not really all that special, because if you're looking at, then again, the AC components and all that stuff, it isn't really all that impressive. It kind of looks like your ordinary 5 Series, and to me it is pretty boring. I'm gonna give this interior a 6 out of 10 Alexis, and I'm also gonna jump into comfort as I'm sitting in this very comfortable seat. On the comfort side though, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 Alexis because of the way it feels and drives down the road. You're not feeling any bumps, and you're sitting very, very comfortably. Everything is very reachable, and it's not noisy at all in this car. So that is great. Moving on to the exterior of the M5, I love the front, how it's wider and it looks like a gorilla in the front. The M Performance part looks great. The mirrors, the side skirts, 20-inch wheels, great. But what raises my concern is this. What happened in the rear, BMW? It is very wide in the front, but then it's not as wide in the back, or it doesn't look as wide in the back at least. I do love the diffuser. I do love the quad pipes and all the everything, and I'm gonna give this BMW 7.5 Alexis out of 10. The handling of this M5 is great. The weight distribution feels awesome. Coming into turns feels great. The brakes are awesome. But then again, we're on winter tires, so it isn't really all that easy to determine how well it handles. I'm giving this particular car a 7 out of 10 Alexis on the handling. But moving on to the performance though, on the other hand, because it didn't really spin as much as I thought it would, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10 because this thing is quick. It's got low end torque, high end torque, high power. It's just, the power band is just way up there. It doesn't come from below, it just starts all the way up top. It's great. And speaking of the performance, I'm giving this little bad boy 8 out of 10, sorry, I'm gonna bump it up, 8.5 out of 10 Alexis on the exhaust sound, because it sounds like a straight 6 or a V6, which is turboed, but still like somehow NA'd, and it screams, but it does also sound like a V8. I don't even know how to explain it, but it sounds amazing, and I bet you guys have heard it on the video. 8 out of 5, 8 out of 5, 8.5 out of 10 Alexis, right there on the exhaust. As this car already comes equipped with twin turbos, this car is very easy to tune, and you don't really need to do all that much to bump up the horsepower even more than the crazy stock 560 horsepower. I'm giving this car 9 out of 10 Alexis on that criteria, but the neighbor criteria though, aftermarket support and the parts, they're everywhere. That's great, bumps up the score a lot, but the pricing, this is an already expensive car as it is. And the aftermarket parts for these cars are really expensive, which brings down the score. And it gives this car a total of 7 out of 10 Alexis. Moving on to the last two criterias on our list. This BMW miles per gallon. As you already know, guys, BMWs are known for being a driver's car, and this surely is. The M5 gets 8 out of 10 Alexis because it is quick, it handles great, brakes are good. Everything in the cockpit, it feels like you're in like a little cockpit of a jet fighter. 8 out of 10, great score. Moving on to the last one though, bang for the buck. How affordable are these really as they are today? In today's market, I'm assuming you can get, or from my research, you can get one of these from anywhere from 40 to 60 or even more $1,000. I do believe that this car is pretty much as good as you get for what you're paying. I'm giving this bad boy 9 out of 10 Alexes, which makes this our new leader on the leaderboard with a total of 78 points out of 100. Thank you for watching, and I do hope to see you guys in the next episode here on YouTube, where we're on our path to finding the most perfect car out there. See you in the next.